Hi, my name is Gabe Arnold. I'm the founder of Landscape Marketing Hero. And today, what we're going to talk about on the show is 3 simple steps that you can take to delegation that will help you scale your landscaping company. Delegation is something that I feel like I relearn every couple of years. And it's such an important part of growing and scaling our companies all the way up the Green Mountain so we can have a $10 million or more per year landscaping company. And so I'm going to break down 3 simple steps inside of delegation that will help you no matter if you're a master delegator or if you're just learning about how to delegate in order to free up your time and grow. So stay tuned and I'll break that down for you. I'm Gabe Arnold, and this is the Green Mountain Podcast. We are the champions who brave the elements to create beauty. We see chaos and create order. We are never afraid of hard work, and we understand the power of strategic thinking and intentional actions. We come from all walks of life, and we will never allow our past to determine our future potential. We create beauty around the homes of our customers and increase the value of our community with the work that we do every day. We understand the power of consistent branding because it helps us grow and serve all those around us. We practice effective sales so our company, employees, and community can benefit from the value we add. We intentionally invest in operational habits that help us deliver excellent results to our customers on a continual basis. We understand that powerful and beautiful things take time to grow, and with consistent watering and intention, amazing results can happen. We are committed to making the world a better place by being positive examples to all those around us. We don't allow anyone to look down on us because we know the value we bring to our community as leaders. We create positive workplaces for our employees so they feel safe and supported, and at the same time, we hold ourselves to high standards. We pursue excellence on a daily basis because we know the journey is worth the sacrifice. We are the protectors of the land. We are the guardians of beauty. We are the heroes. We are landscapers. When we delegate effectively, that's truly when we take back our time and we also empower our team. And we talked about that yesterday on the show of how to empower your team to make better decisions within the parameters that you give them. And right alongside that is delegation. And so when I talk about delegation, what I mean is how can you delegate or hand off tasks that you no longer need to do inside the company? And this is something, like I mentioned in the intro of the show today, that I feel like I relearn on a consistent basis. And that's because my company is not the same company that it was 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? We've been growing and changing. And the same will be true for you, regardless of how long you've been in business. All the things that you needed to do in an early season in the business are not going to be the same tasks and responsibilities that you have. And ultimately, if you allow yourself to be weighed down with all the little decisions, all the tasks, all the things that you need to do, then that takes away from the time that you need to have to make strategic decisions. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about on the show why it's important to raise prices. And that's an example of if you don't have the time to step back and strategically think about your price increases, which we'll break down tomorrow, then you're going to, overlook that and not raise prices, and it will hurt your company. And if you don't have time to focus on that top level strategy and that top level leadership inside your company, it's likely because you haven't taken the time to delegate effectively. The first step that you can do to help you identify what you can delegate and how to delegate effectively is to do what's called a time study. When I was first introduced to this about 5 years ago from a time management and productivity coach, I thought, man, this seems like a waste of time. I don't want to do this. But once I went through the process, it actually clearly identified for me things I was doing that weren't really effective and productive and moving me forward. It helped me understand other things that I really should hand off to somebody else. And it definitely freed up more time. And because of that, my company was able to grow. And the same thing can happen for you. And so when you do a time study, the simple exercise is set a timer on your phone for 15 minutes and keep resetting that timer throughout the day every time that it goes off. And every time the timer goes off, write down. You can do it in, if you're working in the office a lot, you can do it in a spreadsheet. If you're out in the field some of the time as well, that's fine. You can do it in a notebook, but just put a date for the day and then write down every 15 minutes. What did I just spend my time on? And the reason for this is because after you do 5 days, 5 working days, or ideally 10 working days, which will give you a 2-week span, you'll be able to tell, oh, here's where I spend my time. I spend a lot of time worrying about ordering materials, and maybe I shouldn't be doing that anymore. Or I spend a lot of time dealing with customer service issues, and maybe that's something that needs to go to one of my crew leaders. Without the actual kind of objective data in front of you, without the tracking, you're just going to make guesses about where your time is spent. But if instead you actually track it, again, ideally for 2 weeks, but a minimum even of 5 working days, you'll start to see a pattern of where you're investing your time. Once you've done that step, doing that time study, really just evaluating how you're investing your own time, the second step is to review what you should hand off. Kind of touched on it here a minute ago, but if you see things like I end up doing all the scheduling, or I end up, dealing with materials orders, or I'm dealing with this other area, you can ask yourself, is there somebody here in the company that can do this work, at the same level as me, or even at 70 or 80% effectiveness, when it's, even if they can do 3/4 of what you can do, you can still hand it off. And so after doing a time study, identify essentially 2 types of activities. The first activity to identify is which things can I hand to another employee here to get support on, or do I need to hire somebody to help me with this? And the second type of activity to identify is, am I doing things that don't help anything and I just get distracted and I just need to completely eliminate them? So that's the second step, is to do that review and identify which things do I need to hand off, delegate, and which things should I just stop doing because they don't matter anymore. Once you've done that, your third step is to take time and train somebody to take that off your plate. And delegation is not just, it's not just saying, oh, take care of this for me and hoping somebody does it right. What you actually want to do is say, I'm going to end up delegating this to you, so I want you to come work alongside me for 2 or 3 times while I do this task. Because once I show you, here's how this works, then you're going to be in a position where, you'll understand the process. So delegation is training them, by showing them how it's done. Then the next part of this step is handing it off to them and saying, you're going to do it now, but I'm actually going to watch you and pay attention to how you get it done so I can support you. And then the third step is just handing it off and then checking in periodically to make sure that it's still being done the way you want to do it. And so when we take time to implement those 3 steps, do a time study first, so we know where our time is being spent, identify the things to hand off so we can delegate and hand off to somebody else. And then the third step is really have them watch us do it, then turn it over to them to do it with close monitoring. And then ultimately, turn it over completely and say, I trust you to handle this yourself, and I'll just check in as needed. That's essentially, kind of in a nutshell, how we delegate. When you take time to do that and you delegate, you have leverage on your own time because you're giving away tasks that are not priority for you to handle, and you're freeing up time to work on those high-level strategy things that need to occur and those high-value tasks that only you should really be doing in this season in the business. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If you need any help with this is something that we talk about in our mastermind. We have support and processes around this as well. So you can reach out to us anytime at landscapemarketinghero.com if you'd like to learn more. I appreciate you taking time to tune in today. And don't forget to tune in to tomorrow's episode, because we're going to talk about why it's so important that you raise prices. If you're ready to begin your journey up the Green Mountain, where we show you how to build a low-stress, high-profit, $10 million per year landscaping company, then head over to landscapemarketinghero.com to download your free growth map. One of our guides will be there to help you along the way. Again, that's landscapemarketinghero.com.